What is up, world? See if anybody shows up to this. Just tried to do I had a Zoom call for a virtual tryout for season 2 of the Outer Banks. Bullshit. Some company trying to get you to submit pictures. Pay their people to take pictures of you. It's funny when you live in an area where they film things, the amount of scams. uh, 40 seconds, nobody's here. Perhaps I go grab a smoke and come back. Imagine that. 4 whole people. Where you going, kitty? Dumbass cat. I don't have anything really exciting to talk about. I need to cut some firewood so I can have a fire at night. Yeah. I just figured I would try this and see if anybody would show up to this. You never know. You think I've got 4,600 and something subscribers that I'd get more than like 6 people that come to my lives no matter what time of day I do it. I don't know. This video will more than likely get deleted when it's over. What are you doing, kitty? It's a lot like sitting in my yard having a conversation with myself. But I don't have anything to talk about, and you guys don't either, so I guess that never works out. But I understand. There's nothing happening in the world right now to have anything to talk about, really. I mean, there's plenty of things happening in the world. There's just nothing happening in my day-to-day life, I should say. Yeah, it is a beautiful day. A little chilly, though. Socks, shoes, and a sweatshirt for the first time in a long time. It's going to cool down even more over the weekend. I'll say Saturday it's going to be like 67 degrees. Yeah, that Zoom call thing that I went to that was supposed to be for the Outer Banks I got hook, line, and sinker twice for that. Some fucking modeling agency wanting you to spend money to get pictures taken so that they could submit you to, Yeah, all's alright with me and the missus, deer hunter. I don't know. It was bullshit. I fell for that twice in 6 months. Thankfully, it didn't cost anything and I didn't lose any money, right? Just time. Just time. I knew as soon as the video started, too. Like, man, this is that same stupid shit. Hello, Aunt Squirrely. I want to say the last one was back in April. I don't know. She's been back in the classroom for weeks, man. We're fine. Ain't nobody getting sick. Pandemic is a joke. It isn't a pandemic. It's a media-fueled frenzy of fear-mongering the people. Like, we got the shit. 3 days. 3 days when we got sick. don't know. It just seems silly. Kind of a strange. I mean, it really is a strange time to be alive. But you wake up this morning and you find out that you never know what to believe. You see from whatever news source it is, you still trust that now the president and his wife have coronavirus. Like, is it true? Is it bullshit? Is it? I mean, you never know what to believe, and it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on there, whether you're pro or anti-Trump. You don't. I don't know. I don't know what to believe at all when it comes to anything being reported on the news. But I don't know. 6 minutes of me rambling about nothing. I've really not tried to talk politics, but I ran two people out of the room, apparently. The mini bike's a piece of shit. Doesn't run. Yeah, no. Now, I had it running sort of yesterday because Ricky stopped by, borrow a pen to write on his narcotic lady's birthday card. That was exciting. We got it running, and then it didn't run. I don't know, man. That old Tecumseh motor that's on it is it's trash. Like, and I know it's a carburation issue, but I'm over messing with it. Maybe if I let it sit for a couple of months, I'll get back to it. But it was a mistake to buy it. It seemed like a great idea. I got it home and it started right up, but didn't run worth a shit. Took it all apart, put it back together. You guys saw that video, or maybe you didn't because nobody watched it. Hence, I don't make videos anymore because nobody watches them. And I take the time out of my day to get 126 hits. If they're not going to get watched, I'm not going to make them. I had a 77. Actually, I had a 76, and I would absolutely, if if the if the price was right, I would. I mean, I live across the street from a guy who builds custom Harleys. That's what he does. I mean, I have way better resources now than I did when I had my Harley. Uh, and I'm a little older, a little wiser. I mean, I was barely 30 years old when I got that bike, and I'm frankly surprised I didn't die on that bike. Um, to be honest with you, some of the situations that I got put into. How about free and a road trip to Southwest Florida? Uh, how far into Florida? Low, because I mean, got a tow hitch on the back of the Subaru, and I could probably borrow the dude's Harley trailer from across the street and strap it down. The problem is that, Jesus, I'm game, but I would have to ask my wife. Problem is that neither one of our vehicles are really. I mean, they're both roadworthy, but they both need some shit at the moment. Uh, like we need to put a wheel bearing on the back end of the Subaru, which is I don't have the facility nor the tools to do such. Um, you got to have a press, and I watched the video, and that's not something I have the tools to fix. And then my truck has an issue with the front end, the camber, and the caster. It's eating up the front tires on it. It needs some love. Um, hit my inbox on Facebook if you're on Facebook, or find it in the group, because if the messages here on YouTube, I can't find them half the time. The app keeps changing. I will definitely follow up with you on that. Um, I need to speak with my wife before I can say one way or the other, but I'm pretty sure she'd be on board for that as well. We'll just have to figure out how to get down there and get it. Um, trying to think. I know somebody with a more reliable vehicle. We've got the money to buy another car, but it's we're saving we're saving every penny that we've got right now to buy land in the mountains. But hopefully we'll have some sort of a channel announcement about that to do in, after Christmas, sometime, first of the year. Yeah, I guess we could just rent a truck. Didn't even think about that. I'll talk to her. I mean, hell, could probably do that this weekend. I got to look at the map. I'm not entirely sure how far down Naples, Florida is. I've been as far as St. Petersburg when we went and did the that fucking joke of a collaboration that that I don't even speak of anymore. Well, I do speak of it because it was stupid, but yeah, figure out how to find me on Facebook, and we can open a line of communication there. Definitely. Jesus, so you're almost to the Keys. I don't understand what that. But 3 hours. That adds. Jesus, it'd be a bomber of a weekend trip. I'd miss the Talladega race, but down there in Gator Country. All right. Well, as soon as I'm done with this video, I will send a message to my wife, who's in school. I don't see any reason why we couldn't make that happen. Maybe not this weekend, maybe next weekend if we planned for it ahead of time, and she could take, maybe ask for a personal day next Friday, but I don't know how that works because it's supposed to be back, like everybody in the classroom next week. Yeah, that would make a hell of a project for the channel. I would definitely film that. Yeah, I know. I will. I'll get talking to her about that for sure. Just out of curiosity, how long has it been since the thing ran? Because I know about the quirks of those AM pin bikes. I had one. I spent like $5,000 on it in 9 months, and it dropped a piston or a valve through the top of the front piston. They are a labor of love, but I tell you what, the rumble on those bikes, there's nothing else out there that sounds like one of those bikes. All right, 5 years ain't bad. 5 years in Florida is tolerable. I saw a bike the other day on Facebook Marketplace that had been sitting for 15 years in the bushes here in South Carolina. That was just, it was so far gone that there wasn't even anything. Yeah, it was crusty. I've had my eye on bikes for years and years, but the right one just hasn't presented itself. I went and looked at a guy had a 94 that was for sale. I went and looked at it. It was a 94, it was a 1200cc Sportster. And we went, and it was a sketchy interaction. The guy wasn't where said he was going to be, and then he was there, and then we came back, and it was like in front of his house. And I started looking at the thing, and the VIN on the head tube had been punched. Well, I know yeah, they stopped making the iron head for a reason. You have to love working on that bike. It's like having a Volkswagen. There's always something wrong with it. But no, the one we went and looked at, the VIN had been repunched on the steering column, and we were in the dark at the end of a cul-de-sac, and I hopped in the car, and we hauled ass out of there. I felt like we were going to get robbed. The guy was trying to sell me a stolen bike. But, no, I'm perfectly aware of what an iron head is. They are lovable junk. Absolutely. It is definitely a labor of love, and there's a reason that a lot of them got parked, because people get tired of working on them. But The reason I got rid of mine when I was tired of working on it is because it was my primary mode of transportation. Hey, I will definitely have a trip video of that. It was my primary mode of transportation at the time that it blew up, and I had to get rid of it to, I made the brilliant decision to trade my Subaru station wagon that I had at the time. I had a green Subaru before my wife and I got married, and I traded it for that Harley, and then it was broken for like 6 months. Good times, but yeah, it was fun. Some of the best times that her and I ever had were on that bike. I can tell you, I know it costs $800 for a generator for that bike. Only one company makes it. been through, been through that. Uh, well, we've been married 7 years, coming up in November. Sorry, I had to think about that. 7 years in November, and we still get along. We don't argue. That you know, a scrapper tried to buy it off of you. Yeah, no, they're definitely not. Yeah, I know it was 11, 12, 13. I'm having a blonde moment over here, trying to remember what month 11 is. Sorry, my mental capacity of late was just the day I had yesterday. I am mentally exhausted from the day I had yesterday. This is why I'm not doing much of anything today. We had a water main break in the other half of the duplex that I live in that dumped like 10,000 gallons of water into my yard after it was already been rained. Um, it flooded my whole yard out. It took the city almost hours to get here to shut the thing off. In and amongst the water flooding the whole fucking place out, there's this guy in a yellow airplane. Okay, when I say a yellow airplane, like an airplane the size of a pack of gum, it just flies back and forth over the top of my street the whole time. Guy across the road, in and amongst this comes over. He's got a dead battery. I got to jump start his car. I get my truck stuck in his front yard because it's fucking whole street's flooded from all this water that's blowing out in my neighbor's front yard. The airplane's flying over. There's sirens going. I'm jump starting a truck. I'm getting pulled out of the mud. And then Ricky shows up, and then Donna, Ricky's old lady, shows up behind him, and yeah, Ricky needed a pen to write on his card, and he shows up here about half sauced with a bottle of vodka in one hand and and he doesn't ask. He just shows up, walks into the yard, sits down, helps himself to my cigarettes. Good time. And then she's out front, screaming and yelling for him, honking the horn. The airplane's flying over again. And then finally, we got the water main thing shut off. I mean, by the time I got to bed yesterday, I was spent. And then after she was yelling at Ricky in front of the house, he comes wandering back down the side of the house through the mud puddle that was, all this water, and sits back down and proceeds to drink his bottle of booze. And then she starts calling my phone, like, oh my God, like, get a life. Oh, I don't know how that woman still puts up with that man, to be honest with you, but I don't know how that man still puts up with that woman either. It's like the two of them put together. Her personality fuels his drinking, and then when he's drinking, her personality becomes even worse. Like, she's the worst person I've ever met in my life. Like, I've never met a more vile person. It literally just, I mean, I don't even know how to describe that woman. Like, every single thing that comes out of that woman's mouth is wishing ill on another human being. Like, I don't, like, she doesn't have, I don't know. It's like the woman has no soul or something. No, she's the definition of toxicity. She's the most toxic human I've ever met in my life. Never have I met somebody as toxic as that woman, ever. I feel like I need to brush my teeth again. Something to drink. Something. Hold on. I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab a can of soda. All right, so I lied. I grabbed an open Gatorade instead. Well, she doesn't enable him because she doesn't want him to drink in her home. And he stays there for like a week at a time. And then he's had enough of her bullshit. And then he goes back to sleeping on the street. And when he's sleeping on the street, the guy is just hardcore day drinking from the time he gets out of bed in the morning. Like he'll show up over here. I'll be working on something in the yard at 10:30 in the morning, and he shows up over here, and he's on the tail end of his second pint of vodka, and the liquor store's only been open for 30 minutes. You know, I can really only tolerate him when he's staying with Donna, because the amount of drinking that he can get away with, because he is a dead giveaway when he's drunk, and he can only get away with tiny little bits of drinking when he's around that woman. But he's at least clean and showered. Like he goes and he'll be on the street for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and he won't have showered. He wants to. Wherever he sits, I spray with Lysol when he's done because he's absolutely disgusting. You know, pee stains on his shorts and shit. Like I can really only tolerate him when he's staying with her, or maybe like the first 2 days that he's on the street by himself. I don't know. If the guy just wouldn't drink, they'd probably get along. But I don't think that's that's not an option for him. He's so far along in his alcoholism that he'd probably die if he didn't drink. Like he needs to be checked into a facility. There's a Nobody's Travels group, a join group, not the like page. Uh, you can hit that there, and you'll see me. My personal Facebook account is. I don't have the pages manager anymore, so I'm not managing that group as Nobody's Travels. I'm managing it. I'm posting to it with my personal Facebook account. It's a small enough group of people that I very rarely get any new. I don't get this kind of content on other channels. I don't get very many new requests of people to be in the group, and there's like 397 people or something that have been in there pretty much since the beginning 3 years ago when I first opened that page up. I only get 2 or 3 of them, requests a year, so I've just been posting with my personal page, and nothing has been an issue there. Oddly enough, Instagram is where the issue had come from, where I had to make my account private for a while because I had a carload of dudes show up in front of my house screaming and yelling and threatening me that I didn't even really hear what it was they were saying until they were in my face because I was cutting my grass at 8 o'clock at night because it was 95 degrees that day. I haven't had any issues with the people in the Facebook group. It's been people on Instagram I've since opened my Instagram back up. You can find me there too. Nobody's Travels on Instagram, or there's the Beauvais Farm on Instagram, to which like I said earlier in this video, we're looking for land. We're getting out of Charleston. We're moving to the mountains of North Carolina or eastern Tennessee, somewhere up there, either western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, up there in the Blue Ridge Mountains. We're looking for acreage so that I can have a legitimate farm. We actually found a property yesterday that was listed. Well, I found a property yesterday that was listed that was, I think it was 45. Oh, I don't blame you. Instagram is terrible. Instagram is a horrible, disgusting place where people exploit their children. I'm not really there either, but I get messages. I have it, and I get notification of when people send me messages. I don't post on there, but maybe once a month, if that. But that was 45 acres. It had barns. It had established fruit orchards. And there's a house on the property, but the problem with the house on the property is it's an old homestead and no indoor plumbing, and it has never been hooked up to the electrical grid. And that's not particularly livable. But now, if we could get something, if we could get a house like that in, say, January, and I could take off in January and spend 6 months up there getting the place livable, remodeling the inside, putting in a bathroom, getting water and septic and stuff like that installed, I could make a space like that livable, but I'm not going to ask my wife to go live in a shack and shit in the shed. It's not how it works. I'm not going to ask my wife to go out in the backyard and go to the bathroom. I'm not that guy. I might be a lot of things, but I'm not that guy. But we'll see. We're looking for at least 10 acres, and that'd be our forever location. Like, you guys have seen what I've done with this place in 18 months. Imagine if I had, 10 or 15 acres to put together a garden, grow my own corn, to make my own whiskey kind of shit. Go out and do some of that living in the mountains. All right, as soon as I'm done with this video, I'll go in there and I'll approve, because there's only 3 people who are admins in that group. One of them is in the chat section here, would be my mother, and the other one is at school. She probably doesn't even know what's going on. So, I'm just, much like with the day that I had yesterday, it was everybody else's bullshit that I had to deal with. Like, I'm the one that had to deal with the water main break and getting a hold of the landlord and getting the city out of here to turn it off. I'm the one that had to deal with jump starting that guy's car across the street and had to fucking get my truck unstuck from his front yard, because my mother will attest 2-wheel drive Dodges are the easiest goddamn thing in the world to get stuck in the mud. The airplane flying literally like 10 foot above the tree line out here in my yard. The 2 doors down, these people run a homeschool with, they probably have 8 kids at all times, screaming and yelling during the day. Everybody else's dogs barking around me. The sirens in this town. I mean, I'm surprised that this video's gone on for 27 minutes and I have not heard a siren yet. There are non-stop. The chaos that Charleston has become is too much for me to deal with anymore. And more importantly, I just need to get away from the people to focus on my own mental health, because this is not a place to live and to be happy. I mean, it's a never-ending rat race here. The land in this city, okay, it's over $1 million an acre. I want you to think about that. $1 million an acre. And the rent prices directly reflect that. And hence the fact we drive shitbox cars and we live in a little duplex. Because if we were to rent a house in this town, it would probably cost $3,000 a month. And $3,000 a month, like, that's like a $900,000 mortgage that you could pay for at $3,000 a month. But now $1 million an acre. Hello, pirate camera, maybe. I can't see. Yeah, no, man. When I first moved down here to this part of James Island, there was nobody here. They've since added like 5 apartment complexes within like a mile of here. Countless houses. The other side of the bridge on Johns Island, they put in like 15 neighborhoods. So this main highway that runs through here, it used to be quiet and peaceful, and now it's just noise, man. I'm surprised there isn't any barking dogs at the moment either. Like, this is the most peaceful it's been, even though I can hear a Carolina lean shitbag truck driving down the highway down there from here. These guys in these fucking Chevy trucks around here that lift the front end of them like 8 inches and put 35-inch tires on them and leave the back end of them stock, and then they put them big old bazooka uh, tips on the end of them. They're so loud. They're so obnoxious. Like, nobody's impressed with your Carolina lean truck. Like, the girls riding with you probably aren't even impressed by it. Just your other fanboys that like to sit in a circle and jerk each other off. Sorry, I have an opinion about that. I have an opinion about a lot of things, and I don't share too many of them, but when it comes to that... Hello, Tom Miller. Janet here, hello. Yeah, they did. They cut down a shitload of trees. And then back here, they're going to put in 146 townhouses, and there's nothing we can do about it. Somebody bought that piece of land, and it was annexed, or it was zoned. England, boats. Yeah, I can only imagine, because you're on an island the size of Michigan. The land was purchased back in like 1987, and it was zoned high-density housing before like 3 other neighborhoods were built around here that have affected the flood drainage, in which you guys saw that video back in April that I did live that made it on the news that my yard was knee deep at that point, and they're going to cut down a whole other patch of trees. Well, where I'm going, it'll be way better, Aunt Squirrely, because ain't nothing out there. But they're going to cut down that patch of trees back there and pave it and put in 146 townhouses. And the neighborhood tried to fight it. And it's all that water is going to be higher. It's going to drain in this direction. I mean, by this time next year, by the time they have that paved, this place that I'm living in probably isn't even going to be habitable. Like, it'll take one good storm and there'll be 3 foot of water inside of it. So we got to get the hell out of here sooner than later. But where we're headed in North Carolina is, or section of Tennessee that we're looking at, is all just acreage properties, no high density development. The one little town, well, if you saw the North Carolina mountains video I did where we went to that Airbnb up there in the mountains, it's in the same general vicinity as that. And I mean, like, literally everybody's on 30 or 40 or 50 acres. We'll be on the smaller side of it, seeing as we don't have, I mean, if we had like $350,000 to throw at something instead of $100,000, and then carry, let's throw $350,000 at something and pick up a $450,000 property and just carry a $100,000 mortgage, would be another story. We would be on 80 acres up there with in no time whatsoever. But that's not the case. Where my old home was, they put in a big condo complex to get zoning laws. My taxes went through the roof. Yeah, well, that ain't nothing. There ain't even cell phone service out where I'm looking. Like, there's nothing out there. Cows, barns, goats, farms. Like, there isn't even cell phone service above 4,000 feet out there. This is my 10th summer, my 10th hurricane season down here by the water, and I'm done fighting with the water. Yeah, trees and creeks. Trees and creeks, man. I just want to disappear to the woods, and not have to deal with anybody, because I'm officially done being part of the current society with how it is. I want to go out in the woods and shoot guns at beer cans. Sorry. But I'm not sorry. Kitty. Good God. This cat. Yeah, the woods sound. This cat just chews on herself all day, every day. Alright, folks, it looks like I've got some messaging to do to get a hold of Aunt Squirrely and to get a hold of my wife and try to make a a decision as to what's happening there. I'm super stoked about the thought of somebody giving me a Harley. Need one more thing to move, though. I got a lot of stuff, man. I got a lot of stuff to get rid of before we move. Even though my landlord, I spoke to him the other day. He said I can leave the garden. I don't have to get rid of it. So anyway, I'm out of here for now. I'm going to go hit some inboxes and try to make something work. And if that happens, I will definitely make a road trip to Florida video. And yeah, I guess I'll just leave this one here. Get turned into something. I don't know. Like the first 5 minutes always suck because there's never anybody here. All right, man. We'll see you guys later. Thanks for chatting.